and everything. Andy Albright ordered that. Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Jane. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you for putting yourself out there. That's all they did. They put themselves out there. I've been told I need to stay behind this yellow line. They didn't have that a couple of years ago. But I'm so grateful for the opportunity that you guys have put in place for all of us to grab a hold of, all of us to I don't know, light the world on fire. Here's one thing that I will say is, I wanted to make money, okay? Don't get me wrong. I wanted to make money when I first started in this. Gina just mentioned I drove 9 hours to get here. Some of you have driven more than 9 hours to get here. But I wanted an opportunity to make money, but I also wanted to know that what I was doing was a good thing for people. I wanted to make an impact for people. And how many of y'all have realized this weekend, maybe this is your first event, maybe you just walked in yesterday, right, and not knowing anything, but how many of you know that this is more than insurance? This is way more than insurance, okay? Can you feel it? Do you get the energy? Okay, this is a different kind of business. We help people with insurance, yes, but we help people change their lives in so many different ways. And we're on a mission in this room. This room, we're on a mission. I was on a mission when I drove. I was like, I want to be somebody. I didn't know that when I got to that meeting and I met Andy Albright and I saw the fire in his eyes and I was like so fired up. I didn't know that when I would come back, it would turn into all of this, right? I just want to make some money, like some of you guys. But if you stick with it and you don't quit, I promise you, here's one thing I've done right. There's many things I've not done right, okay? The one thing I've done right is I haven't quit.
That's right.
That's all I like. I could be done now, drop the mic, no. But we're on a mission in this room, and we're changing people's hearts, we're changing people's minds, we're changing people's pocketbooks, making them fat, And yes, we're working for income, but we're also working for impact, making a difference, helping people, and what we do matters. And we need more people leaving their homes, shaking people's hands, giving people a high five and believing in them. That's what this business needs. And Brian Adams talked about it last night. This is a noble business, what we do. Be loud and proud about it. The government says you have to have a license to do this business. That blows my mind. You spend $200 or $300 on a license, you can make multi-millions of dollars. So don't forget that, okay? And so we need people leaving their homes, giving people hope, giving them belief, being positive examples, right? I'm going to click this. I know you're confused. I know that you're scared. I get it. We're going to cover some of those stuck maladies, so those sicknesses of being scared, okay? And overcoming that. But we need more people on a mission to do things, to do the right thing, right? Hop on a plane, get in your car, drive, get there. We sell, recruit, and build in this business. It's one thing, it's three things with one thing. We sell, recruit, and build. And Marcus talked about it earlier, selling. He did an awesome job teaching the selling part. Amazing. And then I think Mike Guerra might be talking about the recruiting and that part of the business tomorrow and drive in depth. I'm here to talk to you about the building part of what we do. Getting in your car, traveling, getting out there and getting after it. Even if you're brand new, this talk is for you too, okay? Because God uses people. Guess what? You are people. I am people. Collectively, we are people.
Yeah, we are.
Which means God is using our stories if we get out there and tell our stories. And then, by the way, have an overcoming story to that too. But the only way to do that is to take action, right? And now's the time to do it. All right, so we can get to this first slide. I don't know if you guys are controlling it, but the first slide is, my talk is traveling to build and serve people and how to get unstuck and moving on now, okay? Everybody needs to hear this Like I said, we sell, recruit, and build. Even if you're brand new in this and you're thinking, this talk isn't for me, yes, it is for you. Because your leader wants to go where you are. If you're doing all those things that Jake Joseph and the other people talked about, being teachable, coachable, and accountable, they want to help you. But we can't help people that don't want to be helped. Right? So, and if you're building, this talk is certainly about you, because you want to build your business. You want to grow. And you heard it before several times. You got to go to grow, baby. You got to get up off your couch, get up after it, and make things happen. Make a mess. I was just back there talking to Gina, and she was like, are you ready? And I'm like, something's going to happen. Not sure what. All right, next slide if you got it going. You don't need the PowerPoint, really. I just I put together a PowerPoint so you'd have something else to look at besides me. So for the builder, why go? I'm going to talk about why go. I'm going to talk where do I go? I'm going to talk about how do I prepare? And then what do I do when I'm there? Okay? So we'll go over those real quickly here. So why travel to build? This is probably the most important thing. Why? If you don't have a reason why, use my reason why. I have 5 reasons why, okay? There's probably many more. But what I found out is that when I get out off of my couch and when I go somewhere, even if it's my own city, but I'm pretending like I'm traveling a far away to get there, it makes me a better person when I'm there. It makes me better. Every morning, we all get to wake up. You're all awake right now, hopefully. I don't know, we just had lunch, maybe not. But every morning I get to wake up and I get to decide the character or the role or the person I want to be. I may not feel like that person, but I get to decide to play that role that day. And guess what? You get to decide what version of yourself you want to be. And some people say, well, fake it till you make it. I don't believe in all that. And I'm like, how about we just create that action of being that person that we want to be, and then eventually we'll be that person that we want to be. Like they say, you're 5 years from now, you're going to be the person that you are based on the books that you read and the people you associate with. How about you associate with the person that you want to be? Like Andy said, 5 years from now, right? Be that person, okay? So it gets me out of my comfort zone, makes me expand my comfort zone. Once I'm out of my comfort zone, guess what? That comfort zone becomes a comfort zone, and then you have to expand that comfort zone. See what I'm saying? Am I making sense to anyone besides myself? Okay. Tracking? Are you tracking? I become a better leader, better coach. Listen to this, okay? I have 4 kids. I do not always want to go. I don't always want to go. But like I said, I'm better when I go. And the blessing is in the going, all right? Emily, my daughter Emily swims. Many of you know that. Some of you don't know that. She's a senior in college now, which is really crazy because I'm like 29 years old. And her coach, when she was real little, she had these nervous butterflies, and the coach was like, you got butterflies in your tummy? And she's like, yeah, I got butterflies. And she said, guess what the butterflies are? It's God telling you that you're ready to perform. Let's go. We all got those butterflies. I had them just a minute ago before I walked on stage. How about number 2? Why go? Be a positive example. Okay, we can be an example and we can share the opportunity. So to be a positive example for other agents on your team or other people out there, show them how to do this business, let them see you, that kind of thing. But the other thing is, if you do have kids, be a positive example for your kids. I didn't always want to go, like I said. I would always go up to, my daughter Erin's in the room somewhere. She should be in the front row, but whatever. I was asking her the other day because I would always go up to their room and I would give them all a kiss and wake them up, early flight, whatever. and I would say, do you know why mommy's going? And they would say, to help people. And I started doing that before they could even talk. I did it when they were very young so that they would remember that what I was doing was to help people. I wasn't just leaving to go and play games or go somewhere, to get drunk or whatever. That might have happened once. But I wanted them to know that I was working for my dreams. Listen to moms out there and maybe some dads. We have this guilt of leaving our kids, especially when they're little. Guess what? Later on, they appreciate that you get up off your butt and you get out there and get after it. Because they're going to have their lives and you're going to be more grateful because then they won't be sitting on your couch and eating Cheetos and stuff like that in the basement, They'll be out there getting after their dreams, okay? So I didn't always want to go, but I made it happen. So there you go. The other thing, building relationships. You're going to hear this multiple times in my talk, so I may flip through some slides, but a huge part of this is to build relationships. Have you ever in your life tried to, this whole Zoom thing? I'm all about the Zoom, that's great, but have you ever tried to give anybody a hug through a Zoom? I mean, you're just basically, your face is up against the screen, right? I mean, you can't give somebody a hug over Zoom. Have you ever tried to look anybody eye to eye in a Zoom? Your eye, their eye. It just doesn't work, okay? We get to get out there and build those relationships face to face, together, right? You get to meet their spouses. You get to meet their kids. I've met Jake and Varay's kids. We play ping pong in the thing, this little table ping pong thing. They're awesome kids. But you get to meet their spouses. And sometimes the spouses that don't know what we're doing, they get fired up. And then they give the agent, a kick in the, need those walking boots, or the combat boots, right? People start falling in love with you when you start sharing your belief. And even if you don't have belief yet, remember, you get to pick the role that you want to play. Play that role of sharing that belief. You learn their dreams, desires, it builds trust, it builds loyalty. It builds friendships. So many reasons to go. Okay, multiply your business. Multiply your business instead of addition. The money is out of the house. So when you help go and you learn about other people and you're building these relationships, guess what? They start learning about this business and then they start going and helping families and helping people, right? They start getting out of their couches. So then it's not just you, it's you and Joseph Dukes, it's you and Jacob Varay, it's you and other, I'm not going to start naming names, but you start multiplying your business. And it's an investment to create generational wealth. It's all an investment to create. In my mind, I was like, oh my gosh, you mean that if I hire somebody, then I can create income by passive income, so I don't actually have to make all the phone calls? No, you have to make some phone calls, but you don't have to make all the calls, right, Jake? All the dials. That sports teams, business teams, politicians, they get off their butts and they go out there and scout the team. They go out there and find the people. That's what, our business is bigger than those businesses. You understand that? Oh, goodness gracious. Another thing is you get to meet other people while you're out there, like your Uber driver or your server or whatever. If you're talking about this business and going to different places, you get to meet other people. All right, where do I go? Do you want to be the agent your upline leader is looking to travel to? If you are, you need to pay attention because this is where we go. This is what we're looking for. The people that are coachable, okay? Who's taking action? Who's communicating? Who's taking coaching and doing that? Like Jake Joseph talked about earlier. He took the coaching and did that. And then came back and took the coaching and did that. Not arguing about, why do I need to do that, or excuses or whatever. No offense, we're not looking for excuses because anyone that you take or make is a good one for you. okay? So who's taking the action? They don't have to be perfect, okay? But who's moving? Who do you have? Maybe you don't have anybody yet. Okay, hire somebody and go to that one, okay? You get to do that. You get to pick. Who's doing some of the 8 steps? They don't have to be perfect at all the 8 steps. In the book that I think it was Jake held up earlier, or maybe it was Marcus, I don't remember. But the 8 Steps book, they don't have to be perfect at everything, but they need to be taking action and moving. That's who you want to talk to. The people that are calling you and like taking that coaching and then calling you and asking questions, like Megan Wood would call us all the time, that was the person we were thinking about. Why? Because she was ringing the bell the loudest. She was calling and asking us for help. It's never my job to be, it's not your upline's job to call you necessarily. It's your job to reach out to your upline too, okay? They want to help you, but they got a very limited amount of time, and they need to focus on the people that are doing this. Remember, this is a business too. We want to help everybody, but everybody don't want to help themselves. All right. It could be the person that just started their class that you go see. Well, teach them how to get through their class fast, like Andy talked about. How about we get through that class as fast as possible? Well, I will tell you that when the government requires you to take this class and get a license before you can get a paycheck, how about we get through that class as fast as possible so we can start getting some paychecks? That's what I did. I was like, okay, they said the government makes me do it. I'm going to do this as fast as possible. Took me like a weekend class to get it done, and I got it done and got my license, got my first paycheck, $283. I was fired up out of my mind. I was like, they paid me. They actually paid me. We're going to be rich in this, Mike. All right. Where do you go? Number 2, look at the deepest parts of your organization. Where do you have somebody that has somebody? Okay, go to that spot and start working with those people. And it may not be perfect, and they're not perfect people. I was talking to somebody earlier, I said, this business is amazing. Yes, it's amazing, filled with imperfect people. Let's not forget that. Your upline is not perfect, your downline is not perfect. No, Andy and Jane, they're not perfect, okay? So we got to go to grow, though. All right, who's sharing this business? Who's talking about this business to other people? Who's meeting new people and sharing this opportunity? Who's inviting them to your opportunity meetings or whatever? Who is doing those kinds of things? Taking action. That's the biggest thing. Who's taking action, really, All right. Where do you have more than one organization? It's always good if you go to a spot where you have 2 or 3 different legs or organizations there. That way you can be working multiple groups at the same time. It saves you time. You multiply your time doing that. So look at where you have more than one organization. If you don't have anywhere where you have more than one, then just place some ads or call lists or find some people in that area. And then when you go, this is what happened like with Albuquerque. That team, we would just keep going back and back. Joseph Dukes, Mike and I, it started with like one group, and then we kept going back and back, and now we have multiple organizations out there, and they're fired up out of their minds because they're making money. Who's grateful? Look for who is grateful. That'll be another recurring theme in this. Who's the grateful people? All right, the 5th slide. How do I prepare for this? How about you put it in your calendar? Brandon Manley talked a great talk about schedule. How about you just put it in your calendar? Where do I go? I don't know. Pick a spot. You got one person there, go there. If you have 20 people there, go there. If you don't have anybody yet, start placing ads and talking to people and go there. How about you come back here because you met somebody out there in the world, in Dallas world, and you need to come back because that's a great person. How about we do that, okay? But put it in your calendar and write it down. It's something about writing stuff down. It just makes it more real, And like Andy said, if you put it in your calendar later on, you're like, oh, who put this in my calendar? Oh, I did. So you have to go at that point. I will tell you one story. During the COVID situation, y'all know about that? I don't know if you knew. I read the news the other day. They talked about it. But during COVID, when it first shut down, like the flights were canceling and whatnot, and people weren't sure what was going on, I had a trip planned to Phoenix, El Paso, and Albuquerque, okay? And I was gonna fly there and stuff like that. My daughter was on spring break, my oldest daughter, and I was like, I don't know, I mean, the flights are crazy, they're canceling, whatever. What if I get stuck out there? Nobody knew what was going on, if y'all remember. And Mike put a bug in my ear. He actually said, what about a road trip? I was like, oh yeah, road trip. So I took my daughter and we drove out from Louisville, Kentucky, mind you, we made a detour at the Grand Canyon, so why not? And we came to Phoenix and we did the meeting there in Albuquerque and El Paso. But I know that made an impact on Jake Joseph because he talks about it all the time. And guess what he's doing? He's traveling. But I had it in my calendar to be that example, but I put it in there and I didn't want to cancel that, you know? So, all right, I got to go quick here. How do I prepare? Let the team know. Let everybody know. You should have one of those, what do they call them, megaphone thingamajigs, and be yelling it from the rooftop. If you decide to go back to Dallas or if you go into Tampa or wherever you're going, let the team know. Don't keep it to yourself. Hide it under a bushel. What good is that, right? So you got to promote it. Tell everybody. Let the alliance know. Let the greater team know. Let your local team know. Let everybody know where you're going to go and what you're going to be. Andy has a list of all the cities that he's going to be at on hotspots, and they put it up there so you know where all the leaders are. So promote it. Talk about it. Everyone that you talk to, ask who they know in that area. Hey, I'm going to be in Tampa. I'm going to be out there this date, blah, blah, blah. Who do you know out there? Do you happen to know anybody around that area? Asking those questions. Get everybody working on it, getting one more person there. How about you place some ads? Find some people out there. Help your team place ads. Everybody pulling in the same direction to build that. Now, understand, it's not always going to be perfect. I've been in these meetings that I've scheduled, and it's been like me and the guy that sweeps the floor, you know, and stuff like that. And I'm like, hey, can I show you the plan? You know, it's not always going to be perfect. Sometimes you go and it's the same two people that you've been talking to for 3 years. Some of y'all like to hatch them. This one's going to, this time it's going to work. I've done that. But help your team place ads. Call in depth with agents that you're working with. Help them call in depth. Talk to their warm market. Get deep. That's what Gara's going to talk about tomorrow, driving depth, how to do that. This is the 6th slide. I don't know if you guys are with me or not, but what am I thinking when I go? Noelle, you got to get your mind right. That's what I'm thinking. What am I thinking? I'm always thinking that something's going to happen, but understand that I'm planting seeds. That's all my job is to be planting seeds. And I'm not going to be perfect, and you're not going to be perfect. So when you get out on the road and you get out there helping families and you're serving clients and you're serving agents, you're not going to be perfect, and that's okay, because we already talked about we're a room filled with imperfect people. Praise be the Lord. We're looking for the next leader. We're looking, I love going to a meeting and seeing Andy because he's scanning the room. He's looking around for the next leader, the next person that he can pour into that's leaning in. And so that's what I'm thinking about. Where's the next leader? Where can I drive depth? You know, who are the sharpest ones that are focused and wanting to move now? Because understand, we have a very limited amount of time. We're here for a limited amount of time. How about we make the best impact that we can? So who are the sharpest ones? Who are the most excited ones in the room? All right. What else am I thinking about? I'm thinking, who can I build deeper relationships with? Again, we talked about building relationships. It's so important. You want to help people believe. That's my biggest thing. I want to help people believe that they can do it too, that they can come up here too, that they can be on stage too. But guess what? This is not the only stage. Every morning you wake up, your stage is the world that you create, okay? So help people believe that they can do it too. I want to help them get started. List, license, conference, I want to help them get there. Where are they in the process? That's what I'm thinking about. Where are they in the process? Another massive one, promote the next event. Whatever that is. We have in April 21st through the 23rd, we have a View from the Edge. Mark Assetta's come up. He's going to be talking about that. You want to, as soon as that gets, as soon as they say it's live, you click that button and you get your ticket. Don't think about it. How about we just act and then we think about it later? That's gotten me in a lot of trouble, but it's made me a lot of money. All right. What do I do when I'm there? Okay, here's what you do. Show the plan. Show this opportunity to people. You do a business overview. You get the people excited in the room. You don't have to be perfect at explaining this business. Lord knows, y'all. Some of you have heard me talk, like you're hearing me talk now. Meet the new people in the room. Get the selfies. Get their phone numbers. Pour into them. While you're here this weekend, do the same thing, especially the new people. Meet their spouses, again, connect, build relationships. Okay, do a group training or one-on-one training, whatever. Sometimes we'll do training after the opportunity meeting, do that. Whatever people need help with, their schedule, whatever topics come up, focus on that. But the biggest thing is to meet them. I've been in rooms where all he's done is gone around the room and meet people, but made them feel special. That's the biggest thing. Make them feel, we're all special, but make them feel like they matter. That's what our job is. Just make them feel like we matter. Let's see. What do I do when I'm there? Dial sessions. You can do dial sessions, dial leads with them, teach them how to do that. Teach, listen, and correct as they're making dials. Help coach them. You heard Jake Joseph talk about the 3 dials and, or not 3 dials. You want to make way more than that. 3 connects and no sets. Pick up the phone and talk to the person. Well, if you're there, you can listen and you can teach how to do that. They can listen to you make dials. Olga's done that plenty of times. Recruiting calls, call in depth. Start inviting people. Start building their business. Helping teach them how to build their business. That's a big part of what we do when we're there. Running appointments. Run some appointments with them. Why not? Take them out with you. Let them see what's going on, Here's a story I want to tell real quickly. Jake Joseph flew out to Hawaii. So remember, we multiplied because now it's not just us. Mike and I are going out there and training and teaching people. We got Joseph Dukes doing that. We have Jake and Veray doing that. Okay, so he flew out to Hawaii. I didn't get to go. Veray didn't get to go. But here's what he went out there to build depth in his organization. He took that $50,000, remember that money he had sitting, he started investing. He invested in a ticket to go out to Hawaii, okay? He ran some appointments with what was it, 2 or 3 people there? Just 2. Alec and Jess? Made some phone calls, did all this thing, built the relationship, made a dial session, did some recruiting calls, ran some appointments with him while he was out there. It was not perfect. Like, how many did you sit with? Sat with 4. How many did you help? The last one? The last one we helped. So it wasn't perfect, but here's the thing. He stepped out, he got on a plane, he flew to Hawaii, he met Alec and Jess face to face, he poured into them, and they are here today. They are here today. I had dinner with them last night. And here's the thing. I was talking to Alec out there back in the back, and I asked him, hey, would you really have been here today had Jake not flown out to Hawaii? And he said, I don't think I would. Because Jake came out, it made it more real. I've been on your Zooms and I've been on your calls, but it made it more real having somebody out there with me. okay? So whether they're in Hawaii or they're in Louisville or they're in Dallas, remember their thought process is the same as that. It doesn't matter where they're located, the thought process is the same. The other thing I will tell you, and this was recently, like within the last 4-6 weeks or whatever it was, Alex just submitted a $100,000 annuity based on that appointment that he went on. So you never know. The good stuff comes when you go out, all right? So breaking bread, having fun, take them out to dinner, do some fun stuff too while you're out there. All right. What do we got here? Oh, for the agent slide, you know, why do I want my leader to come to town? How do I get my leader to come to town? How do I make the most out of my leader's time, okay? Why do I want my leader in town? You want to grow faster or slower? Amen to that, all right? We want to make more money faster, not less money slower, all right? So it grows your business faster when you have your leader in there helping you. You don't have to be the person. The good news is you don't have to be the person to coach them. You have a whole team that'll help you do that knows stuff, believe it or not. All right, the cool thing, by the way, Alex Abian invited me into this business. We knew each other before in another business. He invited me in, but he was not licensed when he invited me in. So he didn't have the knowledge and stuff like that. So whether you're licensed now or you're just either way, if you're just getting started, you don't have to be the person, you just have to know the person that can help you. If you let your upline help you, your business grows faster. And that's what Alex did for me because he's the one that took me to Andy Albright that has been coaching us. So you don't have to be that person. That's good news, I think. I always try to get them to other people. I'm like, hey, you need to meet this person. I pretend like I don't know how to make phone calls so I can get other people to teach them because they'll believe it coming from somebody they can relate with, okay? It adds credibility to you from an outside perspective. It gives you more credibility. They can start edifying you about the things that you are doing right. And then your person is like, oh, let's say it's your cousin. He's like, oh, really? This guy? This lady? Are you sure we're talking about the right person? When they hear it from somebody else that comes in, it lifts that person up. So that's what you want. You get additional training and knowledge from experienced leaders and stuff like that. So lots of reasons. And again, your relationship grows. It's better for you. It's better for your team when they meet other people. Be the one that fights to have your leader come out there. All right? Now hear me on this. You do not have to wait for someone to come out to you before you start growing.
That's right.
Okay?
Say it again.
You do not have to wait before you can start growing, all right? You do not have to wait for your leader, because I know some of you are like, well, my leader isn't come out to see me. Why won't they come to see me? Well, how about we talk about some of those things that we talked about before, all right? But you can go to them. You can go to them. You can go to your leader. I talked to somebody earlier. I'm like, you know you can drive down to our office anytime you want. Open invitation. All right? So go see them. That would be good. Go see your leader. Don't use that as an excuse why you're not growing. Let's see. 10th slide. How do I get my leader in my slide? How about you get started? How about you get through that class, please? Please get through that class. I am on my knees begging you. Please just get through that class. And you can schedule your test right now, whether you're through that class or not. My daughter did that class in 8 hours, and she's not the brightest one in the room. She is my favorite that's in the room today. And she's got my dad's eyes, which, you know, if you meet her, look at her eyes. I'm just saying. Now, Erin's amazing, but here's what she did. She took the coaching, because I forced her to, and she applied it. We were driving from Florida to Louisville or somewhere. We were driving from Florida to Louisville. I was like, how about, wouldn't it be crazy if you just finished that class on the drive? It was like a, 14-hour drive. I said, wouldn't that be nuts? She's like, oh, dang dang it, you had to put that into my head. So she got on the laptop and she made it happen. It took her like 2 times to take your test. Was it twice? She failed it the first time. I didn't care.
That's right.
I don't care. I just want her to get through it so that she can get to the bottom, other side. It doesn't matter how long it takes you to pass, right? The class is just a requirement of the state, some of the states. I'm trying to do away with that. I'm in negotiations with all the states. They are not in negotiations with me. How do you get your, invite people, talk about this opportunity, share this opportunity. I got to roll. Show up. How about you show up? That's how you get your later to your, come to the meetings, come to the trainings, come to the Zoom sessions, come to all those things that are available to you. The biggest thing you can do is show up, right? Be there, lean in, take notes, especially if Andy's coming to your town. My goodness. He's flying. He's the best example of all this. Flying around, traveling. He does not need to do that. I'm just trying to be a better example like he is, you know? Get up early, stay late. I always stay until Jane and Andy kick me out. I'm following behind them, you know, and they're like, we're going to bed. We're going to bed. Like, oh, all right, I'll leave you alone. Positive communication, communicate. We already talked about that. Have a great attitude. Be aware of it if a situation is private. Don't talk about that in public.
That's right.
You pull the person aside and then talk about that, okay? So be aware of that. Save the drama for your mama. Except for Aaron, you take your drama to someone else. How about this? How about you just ask? If you don't ask, you don't G-E-T. If you don't ask, you don't get. How about you ask your leader, hey, what do I need to do? How can I get you here? Blah, 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 whatever. I'm going quickly now. All right, how do I make the most of my leader's time? Have new people there. That's a big thing. Have new people in the room. They're excited if you have new people in the room. And so are you. And so is a new person. What? That's fine. Gratitude, power of edification, edify your leader. Be specific with your edification, please. Not, well, he's a great guy. You ought to meet him. All right. Andy's traveling around the world. He's made millions of dollars in this business. He believes you can do this. He's poured so much into me. You've got to meet this guy. You've got to do whatever you can to get around him. Edify specifically, okay? That helps you. Be a great host. Pick them up if you can. Take them out. I got a story about James and Lyra. You can ask later. There's no mayonnaise in Caesar salad. Ask questions. Have some questions prepared for your leader. Listen. That's it. Listen. Listen. Listen to what they say and do that, okay? Pay attention to what they're doing and what they're saying and what they're not saying. There's a lot of times I look at Andy and I was like, he didn't say this. There's a reason behind it. Very intentional, okay? Self-inflicted maladies I see on the road. Okay, here we go. I am not a doctor. I'm playing one on stage, okay? When we go out and travel, we see some things that mess people up, that get them stuck, okay? So paralysis of analysis. You may have heard of this. You can move on to the next slide if you want, or whatever, I don't care. This paralysis of analysis, you probably heard about this. Symptoms: overthinking, confusion, not knowing which direction to go because you have so much information, thinking you need to know the products first. You do not need to know the products? Who was it? Was it Brandon Manley or somebody said that, or it was Marcus? What was it, 2% is products? 5%. You say 5, I say 2. You heard Megan Wood, she didn't know the products, she'd just call us, say, which product? And we'd be like, this one. And she'd be like, all right. All right, so you don't need to know everything before you move. Thinking you have to do this first before you can share this business. I got to do this before I can share it to somebody. I got to show them that I can do this because I'm the woman. No, you're not. We got leaders right here that doing this. They're making hundreds of thousands of dollars in this. The cure for that is action and communication. Just take one move. Just one move every day will cure that. Action is the only thing that's going to cure that. You don't need to know all that stuff. Procrastination by anxietization. It's a new word. You know, these doctor's terms are very complex. We see this too often. Symptoms, sweaty palms, diarrhea. Fear of failure, right? The cure is action and self-belief, okay? Action and belief in self. Take one step. That's all you need to do. One step every day, and you'll get there, right? Commitment to continuity leads to emotional stability. We're all scared. It was put into us by Adam and Eve or somebody, or God, or I don't know. Doc Rock probably knows. He's a doctor. He can come up here and do these words for me. If you try, you fail. If you don't try, you'll be left with some regret later on in life. Okay, self-talk, negativization. New word. Thinking the worst, belittling yourself. This is the worst kind of undermining that you can do is self-talk negativization. That means talking negative to yourself, in layman's terms. Okay, just for this one thing, do this favor for me and take the word just and only out of the sentences that you say. When you talk to your coach, it's, I made 150 dials and I set 5 appointments. It's not, I only made 150 dials and I only set 5 appointments. That belittles the work that you did. Take it out of your vocabulary. I made 150 dials and I set 5 appointments. Damn right I did. Okay, cure, gratitude and self-awareness. I got to roll. All right, next thing, blame infestation. Symptoms, pointing the finger. Lack of resources, it's training, it's the upline, it's somebody else's fault, blah, 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 blah. You pick it, right? Somebody else is holding you back. How about you be accountable for yourself? Basic, worry about yourself. Cure, ownership, and forgiveness. I got to wrap it up. Last one, belief nullification. He can do it, but I can't do it. You don't, it's a lack of belief. How about use somebody else's belief? That will help you. Use my belief. I believe you can do it. I haven't even met you yet, but I believe you can do it because I did it. And look at me. Not much to look at. All right, last points, write these down. What do I do now? Identify who to serve and where to go and just write it down. Put it in your calendar. Just write it down. Write the areas where you have somebody or that you would like to go, whatever, and just put that in your calendar. If you're stuck, take a dose of the cure. How about you just take a dose of the cure and just move on? And the last thing is pick the most important, impactful thing that you can do now and do that. Like if you need to schedule your test, do that, like now. Like you can do that right now. I don't care, okay? And then once you're done with that, pick the next most impactful thing and do that. And then when you're done with that, pick the next most impactful thing and do that thing. And then when you're done with that, pick the most impactful thing and do that. And then when you're done, you do the most impactful.